How area pharmacies are ensuring that no COVID vaccine goes to waste. President Biden talks about foreign policy, the southern border, and North Korea in his first news conference since taking office.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A brief break from the rain before more storm chances, but warmer weather for the weekend. This is KOAM News at 10. Doug Heddy joins us now with a first look at the weather. Doug.
Hey, Down. Yes, thankfully, we are going to see much nicer weather start to roll in over the next couple days. Now, 51 for a high today. You can see our average high is 63, so well below that mark. It's cold out there right now, mid to upper 40s. We're going to drop back into the upper 30s later on tonight, but look at the other end. Mostly sunny skies, high temp of 70 degrees for us tomorrow, so a fantastic day. But yes, as you mentioned, we will get some more thunderstorms in here by Saturday evening. At least we got all the rain out of here that we had today, and the clouds are starting to break up now. So this system is moving away from us, but it's been Alabama that has had the issues over the past, about 9 hours. So many tornadoes. Look at all these tornado warnings. Almost a historic outbreak for them, as they have had several fatalities and just long track, huge tornadoes. Of course, our big severe weather season is April and May. Theirs is March and April. And terrible day. Thoughts and prayers for all of them down there.
Thanks, Doug. We'll see you soon. Yeah, we're going to have some video from that tornado outbreak. In fact, one tornado in Calhoun County, Alabama, left at least 5 people dead and more injured. 7 tornadoes have been reported in Alabama, according to the National Weather Service, and authorities have reported extensive damage in the Birmingham metro area. Almost 55,000 customers were without power in the southeast this evening. That's according to PowerOutages.us, including more than 36,000 in Alabama. Arvest Bank is closing some locations due to challenges in the banking industry brought on by the pandemic. The closures, 31 total, include the location in the 7th Street Walmart in Joplin, the location on Lusk Drive in Neosho, and the location on West Main in Knoll. Arvest plans to add 38 ATMs. You can go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, to see the full list of bank closings. Students in Fort Scott, Kansas will get some financial relief. Close to $2 million in federal pandemic relief will be used to cover general fees for Fort Scott Community College students. Those fees will be paid for automatically starting in the upcoming fall semester and going through summer of 2022. The discount will be applied automatically. Some specialized fees, like tools for a cosmetology class, for example, will not be covered. Some area pharmacies are trying to make sure their COVID-19 vaccine supply doesn't go to waste. As pharmacies get more doses of vaccines, more appointments become available. But when people don't show up for those appointments, those unused doses of the vaccine could potentially go bad. Instead of letting them go to waste, pharmacists use a waiting list to find people to vaccinate.
You have 6 hours to use it in the case of Moderna, which is the one we've been administering here lately. And because of that, we don't want to waste any doses. And so, yes, at the end of the day, potentially we have a backup list that we can reach out to if we're struggling to use those.
People on the list are prioritized by vaccine eligibility, and when those eligible can't come in, the next available person on the list is called. The Neosho Memorial Regional Medical Center in Chanute, Kansas is hosting a walk-in COVID-19 vaccine clinic. It's going to be Monday from 3 to 6 p.m. at the Central Park Pavilion in Chanute. It's for people who need their first dose of the vaccine. Second doses will be given on April 23rd. President Biden spent just over an hour fielding questions in the first formal news conference of his presidency. As Natalie Brand reports from the White House, the president addressed a number of issues, including the pandemic, the situation at the southern border, and his next major initiative.
In his first official news conference since taking office, President Biden announced he's doubling his initial goal on coronavirus vaccines.
We will, by my 100th day in office, have administered 200 million shots in people's arms.
The president faces multiple challenges at once, including what many call a crisis on the southern border, with the surge of unaccompanied children entering U.S. custody poised to reach an all-time high this month.
I make no apologies for ending programs that did not exist before Trump became president.
The president took the podium Thursday less than 24 hours after North Korea fired what U.S. officials believe were 2 short-range ballistic missiles into the Sea of Japan.
There will be responses if they choose to escalate, but I'm also prepared for some form of diplomacy, but it has to be conditioned upon the end result of denuclearization.
A question that elicited one of the most passionate responses was on the topic of state legislative efforts to restrict voting rights. President Biden saying it's un-American and sick.
I'm convinced that we'll be able to stop this because it is the most pernicious thing. This makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle.
The president also signaled he could be open to changes to the filibuster, which requires 60 votes to pass legislation in the Senate, something that would help him pass big items on his legislative agenda. He said the next major initiative will be infrastructure. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, the White House.
The president was asked if he's decided whether to run for re-election in 2024. He said the answer is yes, adding that is his expectation. Some employees of Darden restaurants are getting a raise. The company owns several major chains, including Olive Garden, Cheddar's Scratch Kitchen, and Longhorn Steakhouse. Darden says its hourly employees will be taking home at least $10 an hour, including tips, starting next week. That'll increase to $11 next year and to $12 in 2023. The move will affect about 20% of workers, and Darden says the goal is to attract more employees. But the advocacy group One Fair Wage is dismissing the decision as a stunt. It says if Darden were serious about paying employees enough, it would pay everyone at least $15 an hour, with tips coming on top of that. Darden says its workers who earn tips already make an average of more than $20 an hour. Still ahead, 1,000 Missourians form a long line to get the one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And we'll look at some promising COVID-19 data for seniors. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly has signed legislation rewriting Kansas laws for managing the coronavirus pandemic and future emergencies. That's even though she believes it could hinder disaster response efforts. The measure Kelly signed this week extends the state of emergency for the pandemic until May 28th, instead of letting it expire on March 31st. Kelly cited the extension in announcing her action. The measure also leaves counties in charge of mask mandates and other restrictions. Missouri has been moving along with its vaccine distribution plan. The state even announced recently that every adult Missourian will be eligible for a vaccine on April 9th. But some city leaders in the state's urban areas say their constituents have been left out. Well, today a mass vaccination clinic in St. Charles looked to remedy that issue. Around 1,000 people lined up around a community college campus to receive the one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
It wasn't what I expected because, we all had appointment time, so I was a little surprised to see 1,000 people when I got here, but it moved very quickly. It's a really well-oiled machine. Everybody's been terrific. I think I was in and out in just under an hour and a half.
St. Charles Health Department gave out more vaccines in this clinic than they ordinarily do in a year. A new CNN analysis of COVID-19 figures show that a number of cases, deaths, and hospitalizations are dropping fastest for some of the most vulnerable Americans. Mandy Gaither breaks down the data.
When it comes to COVID-19, they're some of the most at-risk Americans. But a new CNN analysis of CDC data shows those 65 and older are now seeing the largest decline in COVID-19 case rates, hospitalizations, and death rates out of any other age group. The data comes as the U.S. passes a milestone this week.
70% of Americans age 65 and over have now received at least one shot.
The latest CDC numbers show weekly hospitalizations among that demographic dropped 83% over 9 weeks between early January and mid-March, and death rates were about 96% lower.
We intend to keep up this progress until all Americans are vaccinated.
While the average number of new daily COVID-19 cases climbed slightly across the U.S., 2 new papers published in the New England Journal of Medicine are adding to a growing body of research showing COVID-19 vaccines are extremely effective in preventing infection in the community.
Every day, 2.5 to 3 million people get vaccinated. So every day we get closer and closer to that extraordinary degree of effectiveness which we're seeing at the community level. And at the end of the day, that is what it is that is going to end this pandemic in this country.
Now, the next phase of getting shots in the arms of more Americans, at least 5 states have expanded coronavirus vaccine eligibility to anyone 16 and older, and at least 20 more plan to do the same by the end of April. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
COVID-19 cases and deaths among nursing home residents are the lowest they've been since tracking began in May, likely contributing to this drop. That's according to data from the U.S. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Doug Heddy is up next with his complete forecast. And later, the champ is here. Cage of Honor flyweight champion and Joplin native TJ Britton sits down with sports director Jacob Leonard.
Well, it turned out to be another gloomy day for us today. We really haven't had the best of weather over the past several days, and March has been so wet. Of course, it's very typical for February and March to have so many cloudy, kind of dreary days, but we got another one today. At least the rainfall not too heavy. Most of us 1/10 to about 2/10 of an inch. Now, if you move south of I-44, that's where you are getting a 1/2 inch upwards to an inch, but quite a bit of rain. 5.5 for the month. For the year, we're approaching 10 inches already, and we're not even 3 months through the year so far. Look at the fog starting to build in. I was talking about this in the last hour during our 9 o'clock news, that because the winds are becoming calm and we have this moisture on the ground, I think the fog is really going to thicken up for us tonight. And it's very evident on our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, our tower cam for you, live tower cam, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Temps kind of cold, mid to upper 40s. I think most of us will drop back upper 30s later on tonight. And earlier we had a northwesterly breeze, but look how the winds have dropped toward right at the calm level. And of course that humidity is high. So that's why we get the fog across the region. Be careful if you're going to be on the roadways tonight into early tomorrow morning. So a cold start, but once the fog burns off, we're going to warm up quickly through the 50s, 60s, all the way up to 70 degrees for us tomorrow afternoon. Now that we got rid of this storm system, here are the rainfall amounts. You can see our western counties, not much at all, just a few little sprinkles. And then everybody, again, about 1/10 to about 1/4 of an inch, but you can see quite a bit heavier once you got south of Interstate 44. We still have some clouds out there. The clouds are breaking up. Of course, we got the fog, so it doesn't really matter. But this whole storm system finally heading away from us, so we can focus our attention back toward the west. You can see the jet stream energy dipping into the Pacific Northwest. That's our next storm system. That will start to affect us by late Saturday. But ahead of it, we get a couple pretty good days. Tonight, fog, 39. Tomorrow, look at the warm-up. Afternoon sunshine. I think most of us are going to press 70 during the afternoon, up to 64 by noon. A little breezy. We want south winds at about 10 to 15. Tomorrow night's fine. We drop back to about 50. You can see some showers skirting off to our north. And then we start out fine on Saturday. I think we go into lower 70s. But once we hit the middle of the afternoon, you can see how the winds are switching to the north at about 4 o'clock. This is from Nevada to Parsons toward Independence. That's a cold front. As it slides in, we'll start to get scattered showers and thunderstorms. Now, most of these are going to be along and south of Interstate 44, but the ones that do pop up, some of those could be strong, maybe even low-grade severe. So we need to keep our eyes on that Saturday evening. We clear out on Sunday, a little bit cooler, and we start to warm back up on Monday into Tuesday, and then our next storm system rolls in late Tuesday into Wednesday, and you can see the cooler air working in behind it. So if we look at that system and put it with the pattern, our Valentine's Day storm that gave us all the snow and the Arctic air, that's the one that returns next week. We're not going to have Arctic air, but it will turn colder. 70 tomorrow, 72 on Saturday, 61 on Sunday, and then only into the 50s again next Wednesday and Thursday.
But some nice weather sandwiched in between those storms. That's something to look forward to.
Yeah, most of the next 4 days. Pretty good.
Thanks, Doug. The great outdoors looking kind of brown right now since a lot of plants could be very damaged. An extension agent at K-State says bushes, shrubs could experience a winter kill. That's where the cold temperatures last month damaged them enough that they might have to be replaced. But they recommend waiting a few more weeks because many plants and shrubs could come back in the warmer months.
We gravitate sometimes towards those species that are more southern type of plantings. They just can't tolerate the cold. And so select those hardy varieties.
Harding adds that using mulch can also help protect plants from the cold temperatures. If you end up needing to replace bushes, shrubs, other plants, K-State has a list of recommended species for our area. We put that list on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Coming up in sports, Player of the Year honors for a pair of Southeast Kansas basketball standouts. And the Labette women have their eyes on a national championship after an undefeated start. Jacob Leonard has that story next.
Well, after the best finish in program history, Colgan girls head basketball coach Abby Farabi earned statewide recognition. Sports in Kansas has named Farabi the 2A Girls Coach of the Year. Now, Farabi led the Panthers to a 19-4 overall record this season and their first 2 wins ever in a state tournament. Now, Colgan finishes the 2A state runner-up this season while also tying for the top spot in the CNC with a 10-2 league record. Pittsburgh's Javon Grant has been named the 5A Boys Player of the Year. Duh. Nearly 30 points per game this year, including 3 40-point games. Galena's Brett Sarwinski is the 3A Player of the Year. Sarwinski posted 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists per game this season, leading Galena to a runner-up finish at the 3A state tournament. Former Labette County standout Magic Relaford is having a breakout sophomore season for Neosho Community College. Relaford leads the team in scoring, posting 18 points per game. Now, he's been especially good in March. Check this out. For the month, the former Grizzlies getting 20 points per game with 3 30-point games. He's also playing a lot. Relaford has played 39 or more minutes in 4 of the team's last 6, including playing all 40 twice.
It just feels good to be able to put the ball back on the floor, after sitting out for a whole year, that really took a toll on me. So once I was able to play again, I had to make sure I came out and did what I was supposed to do. They believe in me, and so when they're all telling me, positive things, telling me what I should do, and I know I'm supposed to do it, it helps a lot. So they just tell me go out there and play hard.
You can check out our full story with Relaford on the sports page at KOAMnewsnow.com. The Labette women's basketball team has once again been one of the best in the country this year. Now, they've dealt with a late start and a 2-week quarantine due to COVID-19. But the Cards are still undefeated. They got their eyes on another postseason run in early April. Sports reporter Danny Terzer has more.
The Labette women have a perfect 12-0 record this season. They've faced adversity and beaten that too.
Our team has been through a lot since August. We just came out of quarantine, so it was really hard for us to bounce back. We're getting back to what we were in the beginning, and I think we can really contend for a championship if we keep it up.
The Cardinals started the season ranked #1 in the nation. Missing games due to COVID has dropped them down to 8.
Stop ball, stop ball, stop ball! The #8 ranking is definitely not a reflection of our team, especially with our record. I don't know if it was vindictive, I don't know what it was, but it definitely is going to make us work harder and push to definitely get that #1 spot back.
I see the screen coming, I either go over or under. We just use it as motivation. It's another tool for us to talk about it in the locker room, and let the girls know that we're not getting the respect that you were getting in the beginning of the year, and you got to earn that back.
The Cardinals have multiple players averaging double digits. Finish. Their depth is one of their biggest threats.
We're a matchup problem for a lot of teams. We're not a 1-star show or even a 2-star show. It's a lot of us that can contribute.
We've got a lot of really good players, 1 through 14, that we can really rely on, and whoever we bring up off the bench, we know they're going to be just as good as some of the kids we have starting. Right, spread the floor and run. Here we go.
The Labette women are aiming to defend their conference title, but that's not the end goal.
We can't go 50, can't go 75, because that's not going to get us a win. We're going to have to go hard every day. If we just work hard and we go hard, we can definitely contend for a championship.
In Parsons, Danny Terzer, KOAM Sports.
Now, Labette will be back on the floor this Saturday on the road against KCK. Now, finally, Joplin's TJ Britton earned his first pro MMA title last weekend. Britton defeated Sky Mosicek with a third-round TKO on Saturday night, earning the Cage of Honor flyweight title, and he got to do it in Joplin in front of a hometown crowd. Now, we caught up with Britton today to talk about earning that title and the big-time fan support Saturday night.
That just gives you that extra little energy. But when you get in that cage and they're yelling TJ, TJ, man, it just does something to you. The support that our community has for me is truly amazing. I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. You know, it's just, I love my community, and I'm blessed that my community loves me back, and they stepped up and they showed in a big way.
You can check out our full interview with Britton on the sports page on our website. Again, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time to honor a local veteran, Sergeant Samuel Ditmars. The Chanute, Kansas native served in the U.S. Army. Proud to salute Sergeant Samuel Ditmars. He's tonight's 4th state hero. Doug Hetty, the sun will come out tomorrow.
Yes, it will. The fog is out right now, and it's actually going to be pretty thick throughout the overnight hours, so watch out for that. Sunny skies, especially tomorrow afternoon. High temp of 70, 72 Saturday, but we've got to watch for some storms by Saturday evening.
Thanks, Doug, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.